Still.
We have a lot of assassins.
Must be, yes. It's
Gotta
But yeah, they're bigger than the Rothschilds. Yeah. And they built up Shanghai. Like his descendants ended up moving to Shanghai, and they literally built up Shanghai. And then Kajuri, which is one of his students, built up Hong Kong. And then there's a big Kajuri family in Hong Kong.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Kajuri family. They like built the utilities of Hong Kong.
Never heard of any of this.
Very, very wealthy Jewish. The book is very.
yeah.
Okay, Rabotai, you ready? We have you ready? You ready? The question is, it's a little bit of a longer halakha than usual today, so I might have to skip some parts. We are in book 4 of Yechave Daat from Hacham Yosef Alav Shalom, Siman 11 Yud Aleph. Hayim ha'oleh leSefer Torah hayav lekro belahash im hashliach sibur hakoreh b'Torah, or די לו בשמיעה מהשליח ציבור משום שהשומע כקורא. When you get an aliyah to the Torah, you have to read with your mouth the words of the Torah along with the reader, or the reader's got you covered, you can just be quiet. Harosh in Megillah Katav, the Rosh writes, שהעולה לקרוא בספר תורה, if you get an aliyah to the Torah, צריך לקרוא בלחש, you have to read silently, ubidiktuk, and the right pronunciation, im hashliach sibur, together with a Baal Koreh. Why? Otherwise, your beracha is lebatala. You made a blessing in vain on the Birkat Torah, says the Rosh, if you don't read it together with him. V'im eno yodea lekro, im hashliach sibur, if you don't know how to read with the Hazan, asur leha'aloto la Torah. You may not get an aliyah to the Torah. We lost it. We lost one. Sharehu kimevarech berachot labatala, because you're blessing in vain. Very harsh. She'en tzivra lomar, there is no logic to say, says the Rosh, she'yuchal ha'oleh lebarech ha'kriyato shel shliach tzibur, that you can bless asher b'habanu the noten Torah on my reading. If I'm the one reading it and not you, I should bless, not you. That's what the Rosh is saying. And he proves this from a Tosefta and Megillah that says the following. A shul that only has one person that knows how to read. No one else knows how to read Hebrew. Omed, this is what the Tosefta says. It's very old. It's like almost like a Mishnah. Very old. Omed, this one guy gets up. Bekoreh, he reads the Aliyah. Yoshef, he sits down. Bechozev Omed, he gets up again. Bekoreh, he reads. Beyoshev, and he sits down again. Sheva Pa'amim, 7 times. He gets every aliyah to the Torah.
One guy gets a
If he has the whole fund for free. If he's the only guy that knows how to read, he gets all 7 aliyahs. By the way, interesting question. Why does he have to sit down? Just stay there the whole time. Okay. If it was, says the Rosh, if you can make a beracha while I read, just send 7 guys up. Let them make beracha, and the Hazan will read for them. So therefore, we prove from here, elavadai, must be that the guy that gets the aliyah has to read with the proper pronunciation, the Torah, and read silently along with the Hazan. Okay. pasak Maran Shulchan Aruch. And so rules Maran Shulchan Aruch. Maran Shulchan Aruch says, he says, Lo yikre'u shenayim, don't have 2 Torah readers. Ela ha'oleh koreh, the person that gets the aliyah reads the Torah. U'shliach sibur shotek, and the Hazan is quiet. Or shliach sibur koreh, the Hazan reads. Ve'ha'oleh lo yikra b'kol ram, and the guy getting the aliyah doesn't read loud. U'mikol makom, however, in any event, tzarichu lekro im hashliach sibur, he has to read with the Hazan. In order for his blessing not to be in vain. You have to read quiet, silently. That you shouldn't even hear the words you're saying. By the way, it's very distracting for the Baal Koreh when you're reading loud. It's like there are certain guys, none present. There are certain people, they're so loud when they get aliyah, it really throws you off. Okay. Now do it yourself if you know. You know what I'm talking about, Yari. Yeah. However, there's another story in Tosefta Megillah that says as follows. There's a story to Rabbi Meir. Shekarat Megillah on Purim. He read Megillat Esther bebet HaKnesset b'tivron miyushav v'natna le'ached u'bilech alea. But he let another guy bless the Megillah. He did the reading, and another guy did the blessing for Megillat Esther. Ve'amru al zeh, we said in Yerushalmi, echad koreh ve'echad mebalech. It's okay if one person does the reading and one person does the blessing for Megillat Esther. And this is brought by Halacha L'Maaseh in the Ramah, not Shulchan Aruch, but the Ramah She'Isulis, Ashkenaz Posek. He says at the Halacha L'Maaseh on Purim, if I'm reading the Megillah and I say Yossi Kavod, say the Berachot, Ramah holds it's allowed because of this. V'imken gam legabe ha'oleh l'Sefer Torah. So what's the difference? Megillat Esther Sefer Torah. The same thing should be for the Sefer Torah. Shu mate ozen kashevet. You're paying attention. You're listening. Why should your blessing be in vain if you're not reading by yourself? Just like Megillah said, but on Purim, when I read Megillah for 200 people downstairs, is everyone reading? No, it's the opposite. We'd say, be quiet, just listen. So what's the difference? It should be the same thing by Sefer Torah. Omnam, Hagon Rabbi Eliyahu Halevi Bishut Zaken Aharon writes, really, you can't do this lahalacha. That one guy makes the blessing and one guy does the reading. This story of Rabbi Meir is not. You're not understanding the story correctly. He says, we are talking about He says, you're not understanding the story of Rabbi Meir. When it says Rabbi Meir let another guy bless in the Megillah and he did the reading, it's not talking about the pre-blessing for Megillat Esther. It's talking about the post-blessing for Megillat Esther. We have a pre-blessing and a post-blessing. The post-blessing is only minhag be'amah. Every mitzvah we do, we have a blessing or be'er la'asiyatan before. When we go shofar, the shmo kol shofar. There's no post-blessing for shofar. Al shemiyah shofar. Most mitzvah, lulav. After you make beracha, you shake lulav, you're finished. You don't have a post blessing on lulav. The rabbi said on Megillat Esther, we need a post blessing, but this is only minhag. So that blessing, he let another guy do it. But the pre-blessing, he would never let someone else do it. That's what this rabbi Rabbi Eliyahu Halevi is saying in the story of Rabbi Meir. Understand? So even Rabbi Meir would agree that you can't make the pre-blessing and someone else do the reading. Okay, I'm going to skip a little bit. Also the Ritva writes, it's talking about the post-blessing, not the pre-blessing. Fine. Ulam, however, the Or Zarua brings this story of Rabbi Meir, and he writes, the same would apply to the pre-blessing. Another person can make the pre-blessing on Megillat Esther, even though they're not reading it. Since we're all in this together to do the mitzvah, if you hear, it's just like you said it yourself. It's okay if one guy blesses and one guy reads. And this is the way the Ramah is posek lahalacha. Ramah is Ashkenaz again. Shulchan Aruch doesn't bring this, but the Ramah brings it. And the Ramah says, over here, by Megillah Esther Purim is the next holiday, so not bad. But Shulchan Aruch says, when you read the Megillah, you make 3 berachot. Am Mikra Megillah, She'asa Nisim Lavotenu, and She'echiyanu. And the Ramah says, Ve'echad yachol lebarech, ve'sheni koreh. And one guy can make a blessing, and the other guy can do the reading. It doesn't have to be the same guy. This is the Ramah teaches the halacha l'maaseh. He doesn't say only the after blessing. It seems any of the blessings according to the Ramah. Okay. If we look at this of the Sefer She'elat Ya'aves, he says, Sheharosh u'Maran Shulchan Aruch, the first 2 sources we brought that were very strict, the Rosh and Maran Shulchan Aruch, which said you have to read when you get an aliyah to the Torah by yourself. Sovrim sheyesh hiluk ben kiryat HaTorah l'sh'ar mitzvot. Kriyat Torah is different than other mitzvot. Kriyat Torah would be special. You're right. In all other mitzvot, if I make kiddush, you don't have to do kiddush. I did it for you. If I do hazara, you just listen, right? And all other mitzvot, shomea keoneh, listening works. But Sefer Torah is different. Why? שההלכה רווחת בהן ששמיע כהונה, שבקריאת ספר תורה לא תקנו חכמים בברך ברכות התורה בציבור, אלא שקורא בפיו מתוך הספר תורה. When the rabbi said there's a concept such as reading Torah in the shul, they said it means you have to read it, bless it, and you have to read it. שהרי גם כל הציבור שומעים, it's a great question he's about to ask, שהרי גם כל הציבור שומעים קריאת התורה. Not the guy that gets the aliyah is not the only person hearing the Torah. The whole shul is listening to hear the Torah. So why can't they make the blessing from their chairs? Why dafka, the guy that gets the aliyah, makes the blessing? Everyone can hear it. So it must be Sefer Torah is different. There's something called aliyah. And actually, they're correct if you think about it. We don't have aliyah for lulav etrog. You're the one guy that, we don't have aliyah for shofar. You're the one guy that goes up to the shofar. No, all the other mitzvot we do, everyone just sits around and listens. When it comes to Sefer Torah, it's interesting. The rabbi said one guy gets up and he's the special man of the hour. He should make the beracha. So again, we have the kol hatzibur shom'im kriyat Torah. Everyone hears it. Ve'enam mebarachim. No one else makes a beracha. Why? Why? Because they already made. Everyone already made the same blessing in the morning. In the morning blessings, we all make these berachot. And so we already did it. Why should we do it again? The answer is Rak lekro b'sefer Torah b'tzibur. Only when you read Torah in a shul, they said, repeat that blessing in public. So the Sefer Torah is an exception, and so therefore that's what Maran Shulchan Aruch would hold, says the Ya'abetz. Okay. Hakam Ovadia has his own response. He says, "U'lechaora nid eli." Says Hakam Ovadia, in my opinion, nid eli lehasbid all the time. I have another reason why Sefer Torah would be different than Megillat Esther and more strict with the Megillah. Al-Pi the Ramban, according to the way the Ramban writes, Shehobad Kriyat Shema v'Kriyat B'Torah v'Haftarah b'Navi ena ela Hobad Sivud. This that we do Hazara and Torah and Haftarah is only in a shul. If you do this in your house, you're making B'Dechal B'Torah. We don't do this in a house. It's only shul mitzvot. About Mikra Megillah, about Megillat Esther, you have to do Megillat Esther on Purim. If you can't find the shul, you got to do it by yourself. Megillat Esther is a mitzvah on every single person. Kriyat Torah, reading the Torah in shul, is a mitzvah on the shul only. If you're on vacation and there's no shul, you're not getting punished for missing Kriyat Torah. It's not a chobah on you. It's not an obligation on you. It's a chobah on the congregation to have the Torah reading. So it's completely different. So this is a Hakam Ovadia's logic. So why do we do it? Each person doesn't have an obligation to hear Torah in shul, which a lot of people think this. They don't know this. A lot of people. You don't have to hear Torah in shul. The shul has to have the Torah read. That's the obligation. According to this, the only time you say if you heard it, it's okay, is if it's a mitzvah on you. But if it's a mitzvah on the shul, who cares that you heard it? You heard a mitzvah that's on the shul. It's not on your head anyway to do this thing. About the Torah reading is on the whole shul. We don't say, oh, you heard it, you're good. It's a completely different lane. Everyone else also heard it. Everyone heard it. You're not the only one. What is the power of the person that gets the aliyah? Why? If you're not going to read when you go up, Hakam Ovadia is very smart. When you get aliyah, if you're going to sit there and not move your lips, you're basically acting like everybody else in the shul. So why are you blessing and not them? Let the guy in his chair bless. What's the difference between you and what are you doing differently than the guy in the crowd? Therefore, says Hakam Ovadia, it must be, you have to do something different than everybody else. You have to read. From the words of Rashi, it's proven. Yes, you're right, says Hakam Ovadia. Don't ask me what you're about to. I can hear Hakam Ovadia is saying, you're going to give me an example of a shul obligation where if you just heard it, it's okay. What is the example? If you're praying the Amidah and they start Kaddish or Kiddusha, If you're praying the Amidah and they start Hazara before you're finished, and now they're up to Naktishach and Arisach, what does Shulchan Aruch say to do? Just stop and listen. If you stop and listen, it's like you did it. So you can ask the same question. Why? That's not a mitzvah on me to do Kiddusha. It's a mitzvah on the minyan to do Kiddusha. He says, no, it's different. Don't ask that question. Okay, understand? He says it's different. מכל מקום, לגבי ברכת העולה על קריאת התורה, שיש לו בזה עדיפות על כל ציבור השומעים. If you got the aliyah, there's something different about you than everybody else. You have an adifut over everybody else. צריך שיהיה קורא בפיו בלחש עם השליח ציבור. It must be you got to read the Torah when you go up. ואם לאו, הווה ברכה לבטלה. And if you don't read with the Hazan, it's a blessing in vain. Very strong. ומצאתי לרבי יהודה בר ברזילי הנשיא אלברסלוני, which I think means Barcelonian, the Barcelonian. He was from Barcelona. Albersaluni. Rabbi Yehuda bar Barzilai, not Salonika, no, this is Barcelona. Yeah. Al-Barcelona. I know he was born in Barcelona, this rabbi. In like the 1070 he was born. He wrote the following. All the 7 guys that got Aliyah, the Sefer Torah, Koreh Torah, they must read, to make blessings. This that my generation is doing, that the people of my generation do, Hazan Koreh, that the Hazan is the only guy reading, and the guy that gets Aliyah is just quiet, or they read loud with the Hazan, which is also a no-no. Lo yafeh osim, it's not good. Someone who makes a blessing, and the Hazan is the only guy reading, you didn't do it the mitzvah. It doesn't seem right that the Hazan should be the only one reading when you get the beracha. We don't find another example of when you make a blessing. Imagine you make the blessing and the other person does the thing. How could you bless and he's reading? And so therefore he says, okay? He says, don't go the opposite way and say both guys should read, because you can't hear 2 things at one time. It has to be one loud and one quiet. Says Rabbi Yehuda bar Barzilai from Barcelona, if the aliyah guy, if the aliyah doesn't know how to read, whisper him the words word by word, or do the opposite. When he's following, the Hazan's feeding him the words, or what we do these days is the opposite. You basically copy the Hazan. Okay, fine. The last piece. It's understood clearly, from all the rabbis, like the Rosh wrote, which was very strong, and Shulchan Aruch wrote, if you get an aliyah, you must read the words with your mouth. It doesn't work in this situation. Listening is going to take care of it. There's a difference between Sefer Torah and Megillat Esther, like we explained, and therefore I'll fast forward to the end. Someone who gets aliyah, he has to read quietly the reading with the Hazan. You can't say, oh, I'm listening, he has me covered. When it comes to reading the Torah, it's special. It's a very special law. That you have to read it yourself. I'm not telling this to the people on Shabbat. I'm only telling this to the guys that come here. Don't embarrass anyone downstairs with this halakha. You know how to use it. If you don't read with the Hazan, it's very possible that the blessing in vain.
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with telling the kahal that it's very important that you read along.
Yeah, for sure.
And you don't need to tell them that it's kahal.
Yeah. I just don't want to. I don't want to turn anyone off
because people don't know.
Yeah, we have to.
You don't know. You don't know. You do the bracha and then you sit back. You with the. Yeah. Obviously, there's also something about holding
it is also So there is an education here. People should be educated. It's a very touchy thing because
I don't think it's that difficult for people from the kahal to just follow along and pay extra attention and
It's just copying.
you know,
Just all it is copying.
or read. Everybody knows how to follow along and read.
Everyone does.
They've been doing it wrong for millennia. That guy, the rabbi's from 1070 in Barcelona.
Yeah, 1070.
My generation is doing it this way. That's almost like it's
Yeah.
1,000 years later.
I mean, honestly, Yariv might know better than me. When I'm reading, I would say over 50% of the guys don't read with me. I don't think they know. Yeah, I don't think they know.
Right? And then,
Ezra reads loud. He's one of the loud ones.
is there a different stringency with Musik though? Does it matter? Musik is just like
So Mosif doesn't count towards our obligation, but you're still blessed. So your blessing and blame, yeah, but the blessing and blame problem is still going to be there for you. So copy the Hazan. ולשומעים ינעם ועליהם תבוא ברכת טוב. People who listen to us should change their ways and good blessings should come on them. So there is education. We have the president of so it's your job. You do it. There's a president here of the shul. Try to educate the people. Listen, when you get to Aliyah, read along with me. Copy the words. Try to read it. It's good. Just what I'm saying is,
I do announcements.
Don't walk down and say, yeah. But just you move your lips. So move your lips. Move your lips. Yeah, you do it, Mordechai. I know you do it.
But you said earlier that you have to.
You do it? Yeah. What's up?
You said earlier you have to fight pronunciation too. Like,
Right. So that's why copy me is the easiest way to do it. Just literally read along.
I just didn't know that it was that
crazy, huh? So it's very important. So there's education. You were just all I'm saying is don't go down to some guy who were happy he finally came to shul and got Aliyah and say, like that's not the way to do things. Thank you for saying what I'm thinking. So be smart about it. Don't scare away people, but it's important that people know this. We'll go to the next shiur right now.
You can also